A new Goodwill job training site is bringing new opportunities to job seekers in South Omaha with the goal to get people good, sustainable jobs.
6 News' Johan Marin toured the facility today.
Goodwill's new training site could provide a solution to those in South Omaha who have struggled to be fully employed after the pandemic.
We have circumstances where people are employed but still underemployed, maybe are employed but still are a part of a low-income job.
South Omaha is known as a hardworking community, but recently data collected from Goodwill shows more than 42,000 people in this area are currently living below the poverty line.
So it's going to help a wide array of people.
Goodwill is staying true to their mission, which is to help people get education and work training.
Our vision for this location truly was to create a space that the community can come and take advantage of.
As people walk into the new site, they'll notice opportunity is all around. At every corner, there are different types of training rooms.
This room right here is actually where they train people to become CNAs. And no matter what program you're in, Matt Hauser says they're setting you up for success.
Goodwill offers just one service, and that is with a focus on employment readiness and employment placement and training.
Toby Matthauser, CEO of South Omaha's Goodwill, says the site provides training in computer skills, resume and cover letter writing, and career enhancement seminars. And for those looking to advance their career, there are programs for individuals who are interested in being certified as accountant technicians and customer service specialists.
The next step is for them to work with our employment solutions specialists and be placed with a permanent employer.
On your side, Johan Marin, 6 News.
If you are currently seeking a job and interested in signing up for the opportunities offered at this job training site, you can visit our website at WOWT.com for more information.